Alright. Good evening. I hate that this focuses on the mic. Anyways, good evening. We are doing some scrimmies. I didn't expect these scrimmies to exist. They popped up today. They are in the category of the last possible day of scrims for the Ecac guys. We haven't seen much of the Ecac guys all semester long. Notably, there are quite a few kind of like colliding, intersecting parties in terms of both of these competitions. You'll recognize a few of them, but you also won't. Brother, I was told about it 30 minutes ago. Yeah, pretty much me too. About an hour ago, Slasher was like, hey, you want to watch party this? And I was like, yeah, sure. Zephyr just, ooh woo, ooh woo, ooh woo. Welcome Schmalls, welcome Badger, Tobrick if you're here. You're not a sub anymore, my brother, but you know what? I saw that one coming. I left non-subs that little cowboy emote. You can still use it, because no big deal. Other than that, what was I saying? Yeah. Schmalls, you playing? Is Schmalls playing? Let's take a look. RS Gem fan. Doesn't look like it. I don't see any MNSU. Also, I'm pretty sure that man is still whatever. Hey, Dreamer! Oh, my love of my life. Welcome, Dreamer. Always good to see you. Either way, like I was saying, there's quite a few of these teams y'all will have never seen, right? And there's quite a few of these teams that you have seen, and that you have at least gotten once or twice a little bit of some experience in terms of Octane Collegiate. Not many, though. A lot of these schools I've never gotten the opportunity to actually watch, and there's a couple that are just kind of random faces on the bin. So, notables that I do recognize, you have Purdue Black, you have Cumberland University, Slasher, Psych, and Zach W. Keys. We do have, I mean, oh my gosh, who else in here is actually recognizable? I mean, there's individual players like Nkosu's on R5R, UCF. They have Your, Warfare, and Croissant. Those are some notables from Octane we've seen. Kaiser had a hell of a run from contenders. Zek, Coco, and Virus might be in there. Oh, little alarm time. Hold on. My feeding alarm for the kitty just went off. 1 second. Okie dokie. No more. No more. All right. So it is a full 20-team lobby. If you guys are willing to check it out here. Hello? Okay, there we go. I was like, what the heck, man? Can you guys hear the kitty? The kitty be extraing right now. You hear meow? I hear meow too. Kitty gets very, very excited after eating now. He's a big baby. So he's extra excited. Being a vocal one, yeah, he's a little yeller. Sadly, no camera today. All right. No kitty camera today. I don't want to set it up. Hey, Bloom Dion! Thank you so much. I know you, Bloom. I've seen you around. Thank you so much for the follow. Some of these ECAC teams are going to get run down. Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. First of all, Slasher told me there are Tier 2 teams in here. I know who Tier 2, which of these teams is Tier 2, if they are, if there's a quality player on this. I don't know anything about most of these rosters, right? So I'm R5R. Yeah, Cosmos, Nekosu, Teore. That sounds about right. Wait, I should say hi. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. I watch partying your scrims. Heart. There you go. Love you, Zeph. Super excited to see what happens tomorrow. Yeah, me too, dude. Hopefully we can put on a show for you, boss. Shit, man. I hope so too. Powwow, get the job done. You're partially one of my favorite teams because you have someone on your team named Zaffy. So that's kind of the vibe in the half right now. I will say I'm excited for ECAC tomorrow if it does happen. I'd love for it to happen because it's just, I was about to say, it's really not that complicated, man. I mean, it's not that deep. Hi Sinatra. All I need is just a single observer slot, and you guys get to have a dope ass tournament. Look at my DM. Loki King, I might need you to put me as a draftable player. Is it too late? Why? Why do you not want to be a captain? RJ, what is the vibe? Why don't we want to be a captain? Oh, by the way, the matches are starting. We'll get into that in a second. But go ahead and give that to me. Give me your reasoning. Because I will say this. Not only would I prefer not to do that, I'm also, by the way, for the draft tournament, I have to turn 2 of the signed up players into captains. Right? Is this collegiate? Yes, this is kind of a little bit of a cross between collegiate and tier 2, I guess. It's a surprise scrim. It's not one I expected to happen today. It is not Octane Collegiate. It is predominantly a lot of the squads you've seen ECAC. So the quality is going to be maybe a little bit lower, but ultimately, no big deal. Should be competitive. Damn, my ISO is so high. Hold on, folks. Boop, boop, boop. There you go. A little bit more balanced ISO. I'll do my best to explain it, Billy, as we go through. In terms of who these teams are, what they might be, history-wise, etc. Reality, though, is this is one of my first times ever watching some of these rosters. Number 1 sub is here. Kaiser on top today. I was about to say, you're usually a Charlotte foe, so Coco's filling in for Kaiser University. That's not usually who plays on that roster. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Kaiser on top today. To be honest with y'all, the prior notions of what I judge for most of these teams would tell me to put, like, Cumberland University on top today. For quote, this is match point, by the way. This is a match point scrim. So it's got to be someone who can dominate and win. The reality is, though, I mean, I don't know. We're working with, like, the bare minimum here. By the way, let me know about the sound quality of the game, how high, low, etc. Because, yeah. Oh no. Hold on. My shit be bouncing on it. Alright. UB is winning these scrims. Just kidding. 1, we suck. 2, we aren't playing. I was about to say, I don't see a UB in here, Rigatoni. And that's all that matters. Alright. Well, this will be my first time looking at this, as well as the first time for some of y'all. Right? For a lot of these teams, I mean, we'll see what kind of show they can give. Alright. Last check. Alright. Taking off my ring. Fun fact, by the way, before we get into the action, this is just a small aside. I took off my ring because it's so damn heavy that it actually makes it so I can't move my mouse efficiently. I got stuff now to do on Wednesday, got final project stuff. Alright. Tentatively, I'll say this. If I can find 3 replacement captains, because right now I need 3 if we add you to the list. If I can find 3, you're good. I would really prefer not adding you to the list, though, because I still need those additional captains on the board. This zone is so boring. Such a boring little zone. I'll recruit. All right. If you can find me 3 captains, you're good to go. Let's jump into the first fight. DFW. Maybe it's Dallas Fort Worth, whoever it may be. They've got the Jam Fam here right across from them. Now, the Jam Fam are in the better position in terms of health, but that Evo was just taken from them. Neither actually want to contest this fight. They're just taking the extra juice on the board there. Notably, Twitch TV's I believe do they have a port down? I don't think they have a port down. It just literally was all the way back there. As a result, DFW will run into them. Foster already taking the brunt of that damage early. Didn't expect this one to break out here. A couple of sky nades back, and they will be pulling this one together. Something to note is that you still do have that major separation. Finally, I guess we're rotating around. For some reason, AD is going to go all the way over here, set the port play out, and they will be out of the equation through that teleportation. So Purdue Black has heard some of these shots and will find DFW, at least on this building here. I don't see... Oh, it's Jack! Coach of Purdue. Mr. Palm himself. Oh, shit. Okay, we got Jack on the field today. Meanwhile, Zach W. Keys does find initial knocks down on the Cosmos. We talked about R5R as being maybe one of those better rosters. Let's see how that breaks down. It looks like Tiore, the last remaining member. So 2 KP for them. And what the hell is going on here? All right, this team should be fine. DFW has that building. Late rotates for the Jam Fam as they're already struggling to get their rotate back, but will be able to fight their way in as old farts. I mean, they can't pressure them from a different type of rotation. Meanwhile, kind of a shared space. OCC and Hell. PD first. Caster Extraordinaire, Sinatra, and Bronze Taper here, holding out primary Blossom. OCC wants nothing to do with the pressure they've already felt. Meanwhile, long-range knock onto Jack there from DFW. Should be fine. All right. OCC are done and out of the equation. Meanwhile, DFW, they've got to start to figure this one out. The old farts have moved into this building here, and already DFW taking a couple of shots from afar there. They got that knock on the return from the likes of Purdue. Meanwhile, just barely put together here. Could be 3 teams in this equation. The old farts already starting to look up towards the second round of height here. Gas Trap finds Lucky Cooter. See how it goes. Port play, at least down for now as we get 3 teams in the building. A tiered cake situation. DFW tries to wrap around the back here. We'll find first knocks down. The beams from the Volt will miss, and that 37 on the Scout ain't looking much better here. Meanwhile, Wolfer, the last remaining member left alive, quickly picked up, and that'll be it for both of these rosters here. The only team left standing is the Phonem Freddies, led by, I can assume, Fredster here from this roster. Southpaw, and that's Wahili. They're going to be the ones to come out on top of that building. Neither one of those 2 teams survived the exchange. Meanwhile, we got something cooking, brewing, burning here in the heights. Vortex, a man you've met from Southeastern, now facing his early ends here. The Goats may not live up to that name. Whoa, a rotate from behind. A 45 shot will find knocks down. Not Rowan's got to play for recovery. Turns this one again, but instead finds the blistering bullet that will put them in. Bro, they're hacking. Shit, I ain't streaming on delay. They might be. Welcome, Sealed New. Welcome, of course, Badger. Always, I already know you've been here. That'll be a big dub for W&M Esports as we continue to take a look at this zone. Still, 17 squads alive. Quality ain't completely shite here. Couple of big holds out over towards the eastern side. UCF, they're in a situation where they got some long-range shots here. Warfare at the hands, and of course, Semo Apex Ruby just barely putting themselves back together for now. We'll see if they assault or go for this push sometimes later. Meanwhile, we've got this rotation coming out on the south side there. Let's see how it breaks down. All right, Semo Apex Ruby is initially assaulted upon there. UCF are slowly pincering this one, moving into the building directly. You can hear that Newcastle wall reset just occurred up top there. Gas traps will make this assault hard to get into. Croissant's going to look for this climb. What game will Caustic get banned? Probably 2, if I had to guess. Depends on the quality of the teams here.
Couple of final climbs. Warfare's got that extra advantage with the height, and we'll find nobody up on top in this one. They're stuck on the inside. Skynade coming down. Not much more there, and they have to be very respectful of how they play this. Mind you, a couple of teams, the likes of the Jam Fam, can get involved and dangerous here if they're not careful. We are missing a couple of fights over to the sides. Looks like Purdue did meet their end at the Phone M Freddy's. And OCC chased down by Cumberland on the west side. Let's see if the Jam Fam's going to third party this one efficiently. A couple of deeper nades here. You have to wonder if we've seen the rotate out yet. There's a couple drops from the height here. Warfare already out. Croissant likely to follow. So they're going to play out over towards the edge. And who knows? Maybe we'll see the Jam Fam try to get involved just as much here. Owen's got gas traps of his own, but instead, not a real fight, not a real advantage. They're on their way out. Let's check on Hell. Seems like we had that early knock from Izani. PD first with the one. Of course, the Fan Shaw Fuel down to just Temdi. Plays this one out and is going to try to sustain what might be that reset here for BBG Bum. All the way out over towards the edge. Now, here's the problem for Hell. You got Cumberland playing on the west side, and you are likely to get held out here. We'll see how that develops. PD first, though. The entire Hell roster, they want everything to do with this action. Diving into it. They'll find both double knocks down here. I called it a little early, but they are the advantage of this one. Meanwhile, Slasher and the rest of that Cumberland University roster, they've heard the shots. They've heard a bit of the action. Slasher utilizing the sign to get up on top as we get a little bit of some frame distortion here. Couple of reads, and the entire Hell roster should be down below. Apex servers, please. We'll see if it stems up. Currently looking, Syken already on the low ground. The Burns will find maybe, hopefully, the breaks here as the push comes through. As a result, it's up to Slasher to get the re-knocks down. The mobile shield, oh, but so too late. Hell, doing a great job in this excursion. Zach W. Keys has the double shields to work with. But here comes the full thirst. Dives deep into the back thing. A beautiful 99 burn at that. Tries to burst through the door. Instead finds Zach W. Keys at the ready with the power amp here to get that health back into play. You can hear the Valkyrie trying to play the outskirts to get this fight going. And instead, nice Shabugaloo fade away from Zach. Has to utilize the jets to get back up to safety here. Dropping down to the low ground in the nick of time. Missed out on those missiles. See if we go back up to health. You can hear the full thirst coming in on Syken. Finally, seeing the exact position with nowhere to go. Hell, removed at the cost of Cumberland here. And they don't even lose out on their teammates. They got the entire west side to their own. Meanwhile, I don't know what the hell's going on over here. Semo, Apex, Ruby, we've seen them try for this push time in, time out. And Sharpie, well, you got to hope the gas is going to work for you. From behind the life down shield, you're getting 10 on 10 ticks, but instead you are reloading in the face of when you need to be trying there just as quickly, though. Fuel Esports Apex, they're right in the mix to try to play for the third party. I can't imagine FWG Whisper's going to get out of this one here alive. 2 Haymans, 1 Clanker down on the low ground. They are partially a little bit separate. Could potentially look for the full thirst or the full send, but this fight should slow down a little bit. Either way, Sentinel was brought down from a deep chunk of far. Kaiser will be eliminated as the R5 team gets involved. Meanwhile, 2 humans, 1 Clanker, finally looking for that full ascend here. Up to the second floor is where they need to be. Kraber in the hands of Lotus. Oh, we're watching this one for a second. Come on. Woo! Finn 50 down on Ur here. That might be the go button. We're going to extend a couple of nades. Remember, this is 3 rosters in this exchange. 1 in building, and of course, 1 out there towards that choke. Full thirst in the end comes through there. Vayne going to get that wipe. The rest of that roster, the UC, they are all the way down to the south. Meanwhile, W&M, they've moved on. The Jam Fam, maybe not much longer for this world. Couple of full thirsts down. They're almost out of it. They see that teleport down towards the backside of Humbert here. And, well, Current Mud, he's got you. Hook, line, and sinker. Re-knock onto the Jam Bro. And on the outside, I can't imagine you aren't already choked out. The Jam Fam quickly pinned by W&M. They've got that Southeastern lock and key here. Now, Fuel Esports Academy Apex. We saw them aggressive in their assault. Croissant and Warfare, though, able to get that respawn on the banner picked up by Warfare. Croissant able to stick the revive. A couple of long-range shots won't mean much here. Even still, W&M could look for this. Same to be said. Let's jump on over to Cumberland University. They're in the midst of what might be their next fight against R5R. Whoever wins this fight, potentially the winners of this game. Fiora already brought down low here. Cumberland, maybe not better themselves. It's a lot of sustained shots from the outskirts here. Expect that third party to come in. Wild it, but okay. I didn't get to see it. I didn't get to see the Kaiser imp. Cumberland will take height here. Slasher with that first crack back, and that will slow the likes of the Phone-M Freddies, at least in their initial assault here. Register's still looking, and they're going to turn their attention towards that right-hand side against R5R. Nkosu, though, with a knock. R5R is just as low, and I cannot imagine the Phone-M Freddies are not going to come up big on this one on both these rosters. Come on, give me him, give me him. There we go. Syken down for one here. Well, nades dodge out southpaw low. Remember, one bad move, and you're going to be in a situation where you are done and dusted before you can react here on either one of the R5R or Cumberland teams. Either still, R5R able to get these full resets off. Meanwhile, Cumberland down to just Zach W keys, ratting this one out. There's that full thirst. Phone-M Freddies, happy and successful. Thankfully, it looks like unable to find Syken down on that low ground. Meanwhile, a quick return here from the other side. R5R and the Phone-M Freddies in a fight of their own. Phone-M up on height here, have that advantage, that extra line of sight action to play against them. From behind the truck, they'll find arcs that just don't ring true. Fred out through the backside here, trying to pincer this one. Couple of long-range runnings. That's Wahili leading the fight just as quickly here, and you're pushing R5 out impeccably fast. Syken was pulled back together here, and that's going to allow Cumberland to slowly sneak into zone. Let's jump into someone who might be fighting this one more directly, though. MCE versus Powwow. They'll break on through the door. Gas beat gas. No one's really taking damage. Nice mobile shield will give Powwow the chance to reset for now, but shots are already coming through from the opposite side. You've got to commit to some place of cover, somewhere to work with for the Powwow roster. We'll see how it goes. Safety for now. Meanwhile, it looks like R5R are in their driver's seat. 2 knocks down and the full chase to follow suit here. One remaining member in Southpaw actually taking their time behind the scenes to try to wrap this one oh so slowly here. We'll see what happens. R5R going to get involved here in just a second. I wouldn't say third party, but an advantage for them nonetheless. A couple of quick peeks there from Dira. And that is the knock they need. Cosmos, though, just as quickly here, brought back down. And meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, looks like we see the final moments here. 2 humans, 1 flanker find the end of the end of the Cumberland roster and the end of the Phone-M Freddies. They're back to the edge of zone for now. Meanwhile, the hard commit from R5R has got to look a little bit better than this. Nkosu already flesh found here. Drills for pressure, but finds nothing on the edge of the flames here. Dives this one out, and you're whiffing half of those 99 shots where they count. Cosmos pulled back. It's going to give them a little bit of time here. Meanwhile, Tio Red, though, excellent in that push to finish the job. Still, they need plenty of time. Here's a deep wrap from W&M Esports, or my apologies, 2 humans, 1 flanker on the other side. They'll find the end of W&M. 3 teams remaining. Up on height, MCE Apex, only a second away from Ascend here from 2 humans, 1 clanker. And of course, R5R already with their full reset here. Nades out. You have to be so careful if you're 2 humans, 1 clanker. It's a massive chunk of damage. But if you commit to this, you're basically selling the end of the game. I would let R5R take the fight where it counts here. Remember, they do not have zone. You don't want to sell this one too early here, and they just come in to clean up for the dub. So 2 humans, 1 clanker, much smarter on that assault. It was huge damage on MCE, but you know what? End of the day, I mean, you're just playing for it. They got power amp, though. They got the infinite batteries. It's not the worst punishment, really. I mean, they should be relatively fine going into this next one. Full flesh, R5R with not much of a rotate ahead here. MCE trying to pin them back. Gotta wonder where the Sparrow ultimate is, and instead it's Vayne from the other side. Back onto the inside of building for now. 2 humans, 1 Clanker. Once again, they don't want to force the issue. MC will be brought back up here. Trades the power amp immediately from Swank there to get that extra heals as R5R is looking from the outside. Castle wall, and I'll be honest with you, these aren't better angles. We saw how we had an absolute assault here on the other side. As a result, R5R going to be brought down from that early chunk of damage and might have to play all the way to the low ground to play for reset. Instead, 2 humans, 1 Clanker. Shout out to them. Excellently, by the way, excellently managing the pressure here. Lotus with that first knock onto Phantom. Once again, this is going to allow for a lot of resets, but look at that zone pull. It is moving towards the eastern side here. All they have to do is slow play this. And a couple of shots there. Wish they were a bit better. Lotus commits to fine with Teal. Teal from R5, at least one on the other side. Even still, 2 humans, 1 Clanker are put together. Now remember, R5R does have the altar port play that they can utilize to probably get across this wall. 2 humans, 1 Clanker now finally moving in, maybe a little bit more aggressively, gearing in some of those bigger shots. You have to wonder if we'll see the altar action. Even still, out from the edge. There they are on the inside. Lotus committing from behind. And MC Apex deleted here. R5R not much better themselves as they try to commit, but find themselves in the face of the Nox gas grenade. Quick port play back, and Lotus, the only remaining one down on low ground. Vayne takes just a huge chunk back. And now what is a straight 3v3 exchange. Lotus wants to finish the job here, though, before they get those resets off. And there it is. That's that altar play through the other side of the wall. It's going to at least bring them to 1 knockdown. But it's a huge trade at that. That'll be it for Lotus here. But even still, Nkosu was already lost. Point blank with the wingman. It's a 1v1 exchange. But from up on high, 2 humans, 1 Clanker. Your winners of Game 1. Big fan. Thank you so much. I don't know how I feel about the quality. This is rough. This is rough and a half. I mean, they are definitely getting pretty darn aggro here. So, all right. We'll pop on over the scoreboard here. I'll get a chance to also look at these. Oh, someone's asking a draft question. Yes. All right. So, ultimately, we take a look at the scoreboard. Boop, 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 boop. Whenever it pops up. All right, we'll take a look at whenever it pops up. In the end, R5R is going to have a huge chunk of KP that goes alongside their second place finish there. I don't know how much we got from the 2 humans, 1 Clanker. Something to note is that the Phone M Freddies were pretty aggressive in the early to mid game, so they also should have something pretty darn good. I'm slow with the oversat, but I'm not this bad. I mean, blame Slasher. I don't know what my Slasher's doing. Slasher. Is this? It says 11-1. Why does it say 11-1? Do you meant to say December? I swear you took back shots to overstay every time you ran my lobby. I mean, all right. I'm T-minus 1 minute away from just cracking open the in-game. I'm not a fan of it, but I can do my best to track it. It's not the end of the world. Gotta add the game first. All right. There we go. All right. Game 1 in. 2 humans, 1 Clanker. I asked about How much KP did they receive? 14 KP is not a bad place to be there. Obviously, we didn't catch every single fight from them, but those two big ones at the end definitely pushed them into the lead. 26 points is no slouch for an early dub at that. Now, R5R, like I said, highly aggressive, able to find the second most amount of KP with 9 points on their second place finish. But the big ones I look at is W&M. We saw them early on from the eastern side pushing, and Cumberland from the west. They pick up the resounding tie for 8 KP both respectively. That puts them 11 and 13th. Now this is match point. Let's ask, is it 50? 50 points match point? It better be 50 points. That's the question of the day. Yes? All right, cool. All right. So 50 points, match point, 2 humans, 1 clanker, already halfway there. It's probably going to take them at least 2 or 3 games to get above that one. Meanwhile, for the rest of the lobby, still plenty of foes to face. Phone and Freddy's, we saw them in their early takes. That's why they have their 6 KP, but were not able to survive the complete exchange there between Cumberland and R5R. As a result, I mean, honestly, this fight right here between these 3 rosters kind of dictated the pace of the western side. Because Cumberland gets that early knock against them, I believe, onto Slasher, they struggle in their setup. And then the return from Phone and Freddy's never really quite hits the way they need to when they face R5R. And as a result, they too also get chunked up. USM signed up for this and didn't show up to the scrims today. I mean, that's a vibe and a half. I mean, you guys would definitely be in a good spot. All right. Either way, not really much to say anywhere else. Hell's got 1 team white. Not Trying's got 1 team white. Everyone's kind of mixed bag across the board here. It is actually pretty hefty lead for these couple of teams, especially early on. 8 plus 8 KP, 10, 14. That puts you at what? Oh, 40 KP out of the available 60, pretty much absorbed all the way up here. What is that? 2, 8, 11, 14, 15. Yeah, 16, 18. Yeah, that works out exactly. So almost 2/3 of the lobby in these top 4 teams picked up here. As a result, that may mean we hit match point pretty darn early. Now, apparently we are already moving on to a new drop, so I guess we're on Storm Point now. Here you guys go. Cumberland's on Launchpad, 2 humans, 1 clankers, and Lightning Rod. Phone and Freddy's and Cenote, and R5R and Ferrari. We actually have the 4 corners of the map here. So the top 4 teams are in completely separate locations. We'll see how it goes. I'll do a prediction. We'll do match quality. I don't know these teams well enough to do anything else than match quality, so match quality last time was a 3.23. So match quality over under 4.0 over 4.0 under. All right. There you guys go. Predictions for fun if you're here. Why not? I know this isn't a usual night of competition, but hey, we'll do it. All right. I don't know what PD First is doing, but you know what? That's my man. We'll jump on over to our winners from last game. 2 humans, 1 clanker. They'll be playing. All right, they'll be playing in like 2-3 minutes. This is a Rubik's Cube. I'm gonna solve it during the time we have. I'll put up the drop spots while I do it. 3.2 quality restart. No, that's a 10.0 quality restart right there. All right, there we go. You know, I'm actually, Coco, I'm very interested to see who shows up for scrims on Wednesday this week. I know it's the end of the semester, but when you realize there's a draft later in the night, some teams or some players
might maybe be a little bit more involved on that day to try to amp up their draft stocks, if you know what I mean. You know? Give themselves some quality. Where's this ping? I will be watching Sirs, not playing, so definitely will watch. Yeah. New code being posted. All right, we got a new code. This scrim is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Why are we wasting time with the 3 quality score? All right, Kaiser. Welcome. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's kind of rough because the quality of the teams is so separate that you're basically asking for it to go poorly, right? And like I know some teams want like match point quality, but the reality is, I mean, I'll be honest with you. The reality is when you have such a massive skill disparity like you do with the teams in ECAC, as a result, you're going to be in a situation where the bigger and better teams kind of absorb all of the KP, rush towards match point, which is going to take them roughly 3 to 4 games to get at least one person on match point. And then past that, you're in a situation where, okay, who wins the next game, right? And it's very rare that anyone else will come out on top in a way that matters, you know? And honestly, it makes me curious to see how it goes on the actual match day. 10 teams ring 3 is just absurd in game 1. It is pretty bad. It is pretty bad. No Caustic. Newcastle Valk, all available. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say this, though. You saw what happened. Like, let's take, for example, the Phone and Freddy's, right? It's scrims. So what did they do? The minute they got to the center of zone, they full sent it, right? They saw the position of, I don't remember who it was. They saw their position, and they just sent it, right? Because they aren't punished for it. As a result, you start the game, and like a whole team is already gone. You know? So. Wow. Wow. Can't wait to be into this game, guaranteed. You guys were in a tough spot here. I mean, just nowhere to go on the edge there. All right. Zeph, do you know if there's a game minimum for match point? My teammate is brain dead. No idea. No idea if there's like a minimum of 3 game or 6 games here. Do I know if there's one for tomorrow? No idea. In my tournament? No, there's definitely not. Of course not. I don't care. If it ends in 4 games, it ends in 4 games. Kind of just gonna happen, you know? But we'll see. Dude, I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited. That draft is the epitome of everything I've been working towards, and so, yeah. All right. Game numero 2. Let's get it on the face for you. I just realized the entire time I had that the draft stuffs on screen, It wasn't even Storm Point. So you guys, if you care, really know E-Districts super well. All right, no one's betting on predictions tonight. We're just doing this for fun. You know, it's good. I'll say this. First of all, I think it's good to get out here and stream consistently. That's like my #1 goal. I love streaming, and I love doing it as much as possible. So I have no qualms against that. I also think it's good to just like keep testing the waters with casting, because I'm not the best caster, like not even in the slightest. And so the more I can do to try and like figure that out is definitely like a goal of mine. And so even tournaments like this, I love Collegiate. I don't love the lowest ends of Collegiate as much, and I don't love when you have 3.23 quality, but I do love getting some good practice in. Because just as much as this is a practice for players, you know, in their game, this is a practice for me. I like casting, and you gotta take every chance you can get to just keep establishing that. Especially for me. Dude, in Apex, we do not have third-party events anymore at all. It is insanely rare. And so, I don't know. It's interesting. Because, I'll say this. I remember when I was doing so much casting off the rip all the time, man, dude, it was like night and day in terms of the quality. And now it's just like we have ALGS. And I don't care what anyone says, but jumping into that stuff fresh, you definitely do not get the practice you need during the year. And having only like 9 days of Pro League, that is also not enough, right? I would love if they doubled the days of Pro League. Just double them, right? It'd be so much more fun to follow storylines. But I'm biased. Most teams here, not really in any kind of drive. We'll jump on over the GOATs because apparently they got Kaiser maybe looking for this send. They're on the north side of Pylon right now. The GOATs up on height. Have to be careful, not Rowan already setting up this line here. Byra maybe to be the very first one. They are literally stacked right underneath each other. They're going to try to play for it one by one, but Vortex so quick to find that knock onto Byra. You have to wonder if the GOATs, yes, will drop down. Return knocks onto the likes of Bane. Instead, a full commit immediately onto the Pylon. You've got to hit those shots. Ozek inevitably goes down here as Vortex picks up that secondary one. A reset on the Bane is good, though. Meanwhile, for Kaiser, they're just as quickly with Coco putting the entire roster back together here. Full sends once more. Ozek right there on the door. Does this one out with the 45, but it's a bad bet at that. Kaiser quickly eliminated here. The GOATs do a great job covering the Pylon area. We'll take a look at maybe what's going on a little bit more here. Looks like the old farts are probably already done and dusted. Final member picked up, and there you go. That is it for the likes of the Jam Fam. Another pickup there, and shit, guys, it just doesn't stop. Here we go. DFW versus Purdue Black. A crack from Jack. Ooh, maybe some more. Actually, I'm more curious about this because it's R5. Chase of their own. Cosmos up on height with a great angle there. Sheila ain't gonna do much there. A full send immediately right off the bat, and the UCF roster. Jeez. No one just gets to breathe. Not a single team. So that's the first pick of KP for R5 here. Meanwhile, Purdue could be starting to look for this against DFW. They do not have health advantage. You've still got Sheila. You've got the rotate. I don't know if we have the Newcastle ult. He's still ADS. So there's that Sheila coming through, breaking the door. Meanwhile, other side, Newcastle. No ultimate. Probably just came on in here utilizing it. Yeah, a little bit of Sheila play. So they'll be sharing for space for now. So Cito is the final position of this zone. And so you can get that split over towards the eastern side, sometimes down all the way towards the south, or just really prioritizing half of the zone and a little bit of these oceans. So DFW and Purdue should be able to coexist here. Meanwhile, we're looking at what might be the next full send for R5R. The Jam Fam doing a great job pressuring them back with damage, but Owen cooked yo ass.
he himself might need to cool down because he is far from cooking here. R5R now looking to finish the job. They got a little bit of those resets, and there's the port play back for safety. Cosmo already looking on this exchange. Perfect follow through. Right through the smokes, a quick reload for 29, and the single bullet skidding across the head for a haircut. R45, or R5R. I mean, they're just barely a cast. Barely a cast at that. Inspirational lobby quality. Well, I'll say this. It's not good that I'm hearing from Jack and the game is still going. This silly right here might develop in terms of, like, we got Phonem Freddy's. They might look for this. We're trying to predict the future with Jack coming into chat. There's Powwow. There could be a long-range shot there. Who knows? Maybe this rotate from R5R puts them in checkpoint. They rotate around. They go for a full send. Either way, let's take a look at the rest of the lobby. Here comes Cumberland, the Cum Squad. Syken, Zach W Keys, and Slasher already with a couple of wipes here. Meanwhile, Vayne trying to look for a response of their own, but finds Zach W Keys with barely a chunk of damage at that. Vayne's still running and right alongside them. Slasher just as quickly trying to follow through, but don't want to quite give this one up entirely. Trying to really track out the Hell roster as much as possible. As a result, technically, Cumberland is pinched here, albeit I wouldn't say it is a definitive pinch at that. I want to see a little bit of this. Maybe a couple of exchanges. Nice banner recovery there. Zero able to get that one back together. Slasher is continuing to chase out the Hell roster. Perfect zipline play, but in the end, we'll get knocked by the ring there. PD first down. Hell just Sinatra able to find their way out of zone, but run straight into another roster. Fanshawe Fuel with open and waiting arms to finish the job. We'll jump on over to R5R, who are just as aggressive as usual and find themselves at the face of the Phonem Freddy's. I talked about the Phonem Freddy's getting aggro here, and well, they do just that. We're already 14 squads remaining. Big leaders R5R no longer in the lobby. Meanwhile, the Fanshawe Fuel, they might meet their maker at the hands of Cumberland here. Slasher's going to have to play for the heal in a second. Meanwhile, Zach W Keys and Syken jumping the other side. Zach W Keys will peek up on height, utilizing the edge of the roof there to give themselves their safety. Oh wait, where's Kaiser? Dead. 20th. I know. They got absolutely shredded. All right, Fanshawe Fuel versus Cumberland. Peeks on the edge of window there. Zach W Keys trying to find those shots. Slasher's going to full push send this. Meanwhile, on the other side, they're not going to let them have this. Try to see if they can get away, utilizing the edge of the Valgalt, and does get that final snipe down. Looks like it is just Temdi. Maybe trying to rat this one out for the final moment. See if he can maybe play back into it. But instead, why are we doing this? You know, you can play for safety. You can play for reset. You don't have to take that shot, brother. Alright. Well, that's it there. Let's jump on over to the Fredster squad. They're finally breaching into Cito here. The other lifeline ult was just dropped in return, so they found early knocks on the other side. Nades to break down the doors here. Southpaw with the teleport through the other end. They might get sniped back out from Cito, but Fredster is just as quickly finishing the job. Not trying, eliminated. Jack's trying to put some pressure back there, but remember, the Phonem Freddy's have a new target, and it might be Silmo Apex Ruby. Bro, so cooked, I got decimated. I saw you on that zip line up. It was an excellent piece of tracking from Cumberland. Silmo Apex Ruby will give themselves the pyramid to work with, but remember, these can become tombs here if we see the exchange. Phonem Freddy's just as quickly trying to pressure Jack back here up on the high ground. And remember, the full send is only potentially seconds away. We'll see how it develops. Yeah, all it takes, I'll say this right now, for Phonem, all it takes is one easy knock, and they're just going to send it on Purdue, right? Why wouldn't they? I mean, that's all they would have to do. Now, 12 squads remaining. Most teams are out of zone. W and M here, they're trying to hold off this one. They just got that scan. Fuel Esports Academy Apex are going to try to take the time to get out of dodge. Being chilly, just barely latching on here as the rest of the WM roster finds themselves point blank in the face of the burners of those jets. As a result, the Fanshawe fuel will be on their way out. I don't know if it's Fanshawe. Either way. Let's jump on over to Cumberland because it never slows down when we're talking about Cumberland. Knocks for Vane here. 2 humans, 1 clanker. They might have come off their win, but they're running into the meat grinder that is Cumberland University. Now, we got a little bit of an exchange here all the way on the edge of Powwow, who could get at least exchanged. Meanwhile, current med in the roster pulling themselves together on that Jurassic exit. Zach Wkey's going to look for it. Here's those steps just pitter-pattering away up through the stair line. Whew. Dodges out in the Arc Star, and I'll tell you right now, you might not be long for this world. A beautiful chunk on the backside there. Tries to port through the other side. Instead, you're going to find yourself point blank. The triple take becomes a shotgun from a range like that. Rye Dougstar finishes with a long-range snipe on to W&M as Powwow. They might not get involved with Cumberland, but they'll still find KP where they desire. Valhalla there and Boosted Xeno, final remaining members. And Comp KP, well, he is just a single chunk of damage from the 99 to finish the job. 10 squads remaining here. There we go. Powwow might hold out Cumberland. W&M have got the nut building to themselves. This is not a bad transition for these endgames if it does play out here. I do like Goat's position quite well. Anyways, we're going to see Powwow. They're going to set themselves up for that Mythic, and Cumberland University hasn't quite sniffed this one out yet, but maybe rotating towards that Mythic, they will find this one here. A little slide down from height, though, says otherwise, as Zach Wkey's going to drop the payload from above. Couple slows, cracks at that. Syken pushing from the other side as we'll say goodbye to MCE Apex. The flesh found means you are not long for this world. We were asking where the success of Cumberland was, and well, it hasn't been found yet. Bloom Dion able to find themselves a nice return knock onto Slasher there. And Powwow, we didn't get to see this play, but they had set the portal down on this building, so made for a great recovery here. Even still, let's see if they can sustain that final chunk of damage. Looks like we'll see a long rotate from Cumberland. Zach Wkey's and Syken again. The final 2 remaining members of this roster left to stay alive for Cumberland. They're going to have the north side to themselves. And, I mean, I'll be honest, if they can get to that northern side without getting choked out, that is as good as gravy. Powwow here, though, maybe looking to capitalize on what is already pressured down below them. The Goats in a really good position, like I said earlier, but now being pressured upon by that Southeastern Powwow roster. Remember, they're only seconds away from getting a great knock on you at that. Blue Dion there, looking for the port play on the other side. They've gotten themselves a building to work with. Now, remember, they don't have a Rampart. They don't have a Watson, a Newcastle. They barely have coverage at that. Hell, they are rocking a Fuse. Either way, now W&M, they might find this solo remaining member who has yet to move on. Sky nades from Magic Trickster, and you've got to slide down. There we go. Unable to find the boom and the bust. As a result, looks like Powwow are able to set themselves up. Most teams now building for building. Cedo available. Phonem Freddy's one of the few squads that has yet to give themselves coverage here. DFW holding for space and a half when it comes to the entirety of that Cumberland roster. Meanwhile, the Fuel Esports Academy team just as quickly looking to punish what might be them with their pants down here. Being chilly on the other side. Couple of good peeks as Syken does get the knockdown dropout drill as we get the full reset here from Cumberland University. Slasher back in play. Resets just barely have come through here, and you can hear that bat on the other side pulling this one together. The Sheila, maybe a little bit too difficult to peek that one out, but it will be a Cumberland recovery from the north. A couple of teams, Phonem, have managed to make it to the low ground below Purdue Black here. Fuel Esports Academy in the buildings themselves, and Semo, Apex, Ruby, just as good. We do see a better rotate from the Goats. They get themselves with the port here from Vortec, able into Ceto. So we'll see how this plays one out, because right now, W&M Esports all the way on the edge, and Powwow not much better for themselves there. Bloom Dion might have to look for the port play, but instead tries to cover out this roster. They do have the underside of these buildings to work with here if they want to make that count. Meanwhile, W&M, just as quickly as they slide down, are sniped out from afar here. Duckstar point blank will find good damage, but instead, just as much flesh in return. One final remaining member in Thorax Sphinx will find just as good knocks on the return, but runs right into the edge of Powwow's final bullets. Zach WK is going to see if he can hold out that final remaining member in the roster that's trying to play for reset here. Goats will look to do the same. Zach WK should be able to get back towards Cumberland. Nice smoke play from the likes of Slasher here to give them that safety as there's Bloom Dion, final remaining member, nowhere to go, a drill to the dome, and he's going to have to play this just barely on the edge. The zone ticks out the final remaining members of Zappy and Bismo. Weren't able to get the rotation just quick enough, and as a result, I don't know, might be able to sneak this one in oh so slowly here, but you're going to be playing for a tight bit of your life. By the way, didn't see it, didn't notice when it happened. Looks like the Phone and Freddy's took out Purdue. We literally missed it. Never saw it occur. It was so fast, Purdue was uber deleted. That's Wahili and Fredster here. Also just as quickly to punish these other teams. Playing from height, Fuel Esports Academy will be sent upon by Cumberland, and that's it for you. A couple of deep rotates from Ghosts on the other side as they'll play for closer space to the end of the zone. They got Cumberland right alongside them, building for building. Castle walls got them covered for now. But ain't much better at that. Trying to play for the loot while they can as the Goats are doing a great job slowly pressuring from the interior here. Meanwhile, Bloom Dion able to pull the entire roster back together from the mobile res. Good for them. They'll be actually able to rotate near this and take away the edge of the Goats' position that they were just in here. Still not in zone. The only team in zone currently is DFW and, of course, Phone and Freddy's up on height. Everyone else has got to make a much bigger move at that. Looks like we'll be counting the end of Cumberland here maybe shortly. Sykin found out in a couple of nades. Won't find purchase. Even still, though, Optic from the other side. It's W&M potentially getting involved here. Big damage on the backside. Goats with nowhere to go. Hoping the mobile shield would give them what they need. Or maybe the shield reset is a quandary at that. Powwow here. Trying to pull this one together just as quickly. Now Cumberland University going to have to dodge this one out on the edge of a nade. Arcstar. And a port play out towards the side. Almost gets them caught out here. It's the port from the other end. And Slasher and Zach WPs are making this one count how they please. It's up to Slasher to finish the job. Sniped out. Cumberland eliminated by a late game reset from Powwow. We're down to our final 4 squads remaining. Powwow, just the first team eliminated. And Fredster is so quick here to get these drops from on high. Try to see if they can sustain those final wipes here as Semo, Apex, Ruby. They're not much better themselves. DFW, they cover this rotate just as well as the likes of Phenom Freddy, and they will finish the job. That's Wahili here, already making the move from Phenom, or Phonem. See if they can get out to the skirts here and maybe get an really easy knock, but it is a full reset for DFW. Meanwhile, Powwow taking their time on the edge. This could be a really big return for Powwow. Able to sustain a reset off here as the Phone and Freddy's, albeit aren't low enough. We'll see if Powwow can third party this. Instead, there's a full thirst. Fredster breaking on through to the interior there, but just as quickly out from the P2020. Finally, the rotate from the outside as DFW runs straight into the edge. Port plays to the other end. P20's back into it. Southpaw with a knock. The Phone and Freddy's rotate through the side. Knock for knock. Twist it around. And there you go. A game 2 dub of expectation. The Phone and Freddy's, they were such an aggro roster in that game 1 on E-District. I'm quite pleased to see them actually walk away with at least the win in one of their games. So we'll jump on over the scoreboard. I don't know if it's going to be as quickly placed into it here. We'll see how it goes. Oh, sorry, little ECAC ping. Interesting. Hey, if I do ECAC tomorrow, this is some good information. Now, Kaiser isn't in the lobby. Not sure if that means they are gone. We'll have to check in on that later. For now, we are still waiting on the scores. All right, Zephyr's going to take 2 seconds to check his phone. That's like his favorite thing
to do in between games. Are you guys out? Wi-Fi went out? That's how it goes. Oh, we got a lot of this. I also hate that because it's like I want to read into things more. I want to respond. All right. Anyways, no Fanshawe Fuel, no Kaiser. Don't know if that means it's the end of those two rosters in the scrim. We'll see. We'll see how long this lasts. Paka and Isavu. I did not catch the follow from Isavu there because I was in the middle of casting probably. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the competition. Hopefully we have scrims going. There we go. Game 2 on the board. All right, that's not a game 2. What are we doing, Slasher? Slasher. Come on, brother. Oh, is it Slasher or is it PD first? I don't know why I just assumed it was PD or Slasher doing this. Well, it is what it is. Everyone about to start. I don't think Slasher's behind the admin panel. I'll be honest with you. I'm so used to blaming Slasher for shits and giggles that it's me and it's live on my end. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. All right. Do I need to step in and run the overstep? Oh! Little yawn and a half from Zeffy Weffy. So many people joined the Discord today, and so I'm like tracking that as I go. Where am I getting pinged from? I don't know who that is. You guys ever see someone on Discord that you don't know, but they have like 1,400 mutual friends of yours, and you're just kind of like, what is the vibe there? Hold on. I have to reply to something in Discord. There are some small arguments in chat right now, and I'm very interesting. I'll do a dramatic reenactment as we go. So this is between Captain Loggy and other people. Let's see. Put the codes in. No, Temd. Some of these kids are like no life Octane. Yeah, I know, right? That's why I was sad when I said we were bringing Octane players in. Half the teams winning aren't even in ECAC. Like, Cumberland hasn't even gotten top 3. In fairness, I think those are Bessa teams. Octane players are usually somewhat better as Octane scores easily. They're definitely okay. It's open. Bring a player. We don't have time. I said I was going to do a dramatic read, but I ended up getting too invested. And now I'm confused with myself. Okay, that's getting fixed slowly. I have I know it's open, but like, are we really bringing in people who play every day? I don't have time to. I have exams and shit. I can't play every day. Okay. We do too. Slasher comes in and says, we do too. We're full-time students, all of us with full course loads, and are required to maintain a good GPA. Something. Octane teams. Slasher says they're Vesta teams. There you go. They have a college. Something. I don't know, bro. If someone has a bio saying, I play every day, I don't think they're in college. I'll tell you this. You haven't met the widespread majority of the collegiate Apex scene then. Because they play a lot of Apex, bro. Something esports. Something. I actually have to leave the house to do my schoolwork. I think we're upset. This is Fuel Esports Academy Apex. I love ECAC because it is a very, very... Here's the thing with ECAC. It's expensive to participate, right? And a lot of colleges are already paying for a different funding on something else. And so Octane, of course, is just a very quick flat fee. Whereas ECAC, you can do that, but realistically, the schools who participate in it are usually doing the full fee. Some do the singular, but if you're going to do a singular, you probably end up in Octane. So as a result, this has been the truth for the last 2 to 3 years. ECAC is kind of its own little bubble with the collegiate space compared to, say, Octane or even NECC, where that was a lot easier for a lot of schools. And so, if you think, I was going to say, ECAC is like, especially for a lot of the teams, a team that's like, say, 18th in ECAC, you'll very quickly learn is like on the spectrum of collegiate Apex, they're like 100th or like 200th in comparison to the other teams out there. There's a couple of massive rosters in ECAC that's very interesting, like Cumberland, right? Or your Purdue Blacks who have made it to Premier League and Octane, etc. But the reality is, it's because it's such a bubble, you don't get to experience how wildly like insane collegiate Apex actually is, right? And I wouldn't even be offended. Like one of the points brought up was like, I don't have time to play every day, and that's fine. I'm pretty sure a good chunk of the players, there's definitely some in Octane who play every day. There's also a good chunk of players who just show up and they're just good. You know what I mean? They're just fantastic. Okay, the lobby is now we're kind of exploding. Our third gets on at 2:45 for 3 p.m. match days. There you go. And how bad is Charlotte? Charlotte had a pretty good run, albeit it was mostly you. Apparently Swank just got banished or banned. I don't know why. There's a lot of tea going on here in the middle of this. No idea why that just occurred. What are we doing? Huh. Just meta. Alright. Anyways, game 2's in finally. It took a little bit. The Phone and Freddy's do walk out of that game with the highest point standing that we've seen thus far, and it's to no surprise. We saw them be absolutely methodical in how they punished the majority of these rosters here. 19 KP with a score of 31 overall. The rest of these teams just barely show up due to some of the final placements. Shout out to R5R, who do at least get the 2 fights that we saw out there towards the northwest outside of Down Beast. That gets them up at least to the 7 points out of their 6 KP. Beyond that, heavy sparings for Powwow, who we saw them on their late reset there from Bloom Dion. Solid at that. Allows them to swoop into at least second place. And Cumberland, who even they had to get a reset there at the very, very end. They pick a little bit of the wrong building to work with, and as a result, do get choked out by teams like the Goats and the Phonem Freddies. But still, 10 KP is 10 KP. We're hoping it's just chilling contenders next stage. We don't really care to be a 20th to 40th Premier team, whether we could or not. Yeah, I'm very excited for the quals that will take place in January. The thing that's going to be hard to navigate there is you still have to learn, like, you don't have to be good, but you have to learn how to survive. Like, that is the big one. Yeah, but that's our one thing. We only made it so far because of our placement. Drops are fucked. There's going to be a restart. All right. Well, I'm not hopping in yet. Overall standing, by the way, Phonem Freddy's now in the lead with 40 points there. 10 more on the board till they are in match point eligibility. 2 humans, 1 clanker. Even though they win that first game, they only drop 1 point that next one. The same for R5R. Just kind of barely skirting in to the halfway point there with the 7 points from that last game. Now, there's always the chance to turn around as we go towards World's Edge. Of course, teams like R5R do have West Skyhook, I think, to themselves, because I don't know if Fuel are actually in here. Meanwhile, teams like 2 Humans, 1 Canker will be not far away there in the fissure area, so could see some flames and some fire. Purdue Black staging, Cumberland and Siphon. Where's our Goats? Phonem Freddy's here in mod. Now, that could explode into an exchange there between the Fanshawe Fuel or the UCF. Getting out of Dome can be a difficulty and a half. Stupid question you might not know, but are there POI drafts replacements? No way, right? Are you talking about for the Octane placements next split? I'll say this. I remember that our team, Tamu White got screwed because they ended up drafting Dome during quals, and that completely gutted their performance and their ability to perform. They drafted Dome next to Cumberland or someone or Ottawa, and it was they basically completely sold their game. By the way, I think it was literally Ottawa. I think they literally drafted it right next to Ottawa. This is fun. Yeah, we're down to 17 teams. I don't know how much longer this will last. I don't know if this is good practice, but we'll see. I'm sorry. I can't think. The casuals. Shit talk is greater than Apex scrims. The casuals are beefing with the sweats. Oh yeah, let me check on that while I have a chance. Because they really were. Let's see. Wrong POI, all heard. Yada, yada, yada. Wrong POI. Yes. All right. All right, gang. Wrap it up. And do a 10-team scrim with only ECAC. Oh, we are actually beefing. Oh, my God. Now we're bringing in religion and homophobia into this. Apparently a Terraria, a Terraria GIF. That's kind of lit. I'm a big fan of Terraria GIFs. Holy shit. The scrim beef go crazy. We should have a beef day. I don't know what that means, but I would love a little day where everyone just gets to hate each other. Now there is 18 squads. Pretty sure though that MCE is just Malthaliel.
Fail. Steak? I shouldn't have left the Discord, bruh. You're missing out. You're missing out on some prime beef that's taking place. I'm out there with my popcorn. All right, I don't know what this is, what Tharquisha is doing right now, but we are point blank. Sentinel shot. Man, you gotta hit those 45 if you're gonna come at him like that. Tharquisha! What are we doing? You can't just ego challenge like that and lose. Oh my god, that would have been baller. Would have been baller. Wolfer almost goes down to Tharquisha there, but the 45 shots look dookie and a half. Oh my god. It may just be one individual here from MCE, but Mathaliel is going to punish this roster for existing. This is the R5R team. You see a little bit of the controller frame. Watch this. The minute we see the looting and the booting, Tiorez gonna get a fat dose of triple take from above. Get ready for the heady, the ready, and the oh no, my spaghetti shots here. Oh, there's that little rotate on the prowlers. Oh no, you idiot! You fucking idiot! You dumb motherfucker! Come on, bro! You have that set up, you have the loot, you have the perfect angles, and instead, you sell. You get a little too greedy, and you sell it. Alright. I'm a little upset. What can I say? Alright, now Bean Chili did just get knocked down here in the Jam Fam. Oh, there are no strangers to the mash. What plays available? The Jam Bro, leader of the main name themselves. Trying to work this in. Gonna take their time before they're all the way ready to go. Up on height. Jesus. Owen does cook that one. We're going to try to play for the Newcastle reset, and you are walking into danger. Here comes the Jam Bro just as quickly, but the Watson fence line and the mobile shield are enough. A peek in from Owen results in a knock and return. Finally, Flesh found, and it is up to the namesake himself. Wingman, Volti reset. We are in a 1v1 scenario. Jam Bro looking for this one on the other side. There's the full thirst on the Newcastle. That's about as important as it gets. As, mind you, down below, the Bean Chili is so low. You could have gotten this done. Either way, the Jam Bro will get, the rest of the roster back into this. There's Owen up in play, and if you're not taking the time to play for reset, you're basically asking for death. Captain Loggy will be pushed back into it, and, the Jam Fam are leaving. We don't punish. We don't do anything. Meanwhile, R5R is going to come in here for the sloppy seconds of a lifetime, and they're going to work into, once again, no! The Jam Fam runs into R5R here. They'll maybe find the Bean Chili down as they're still playing on the inside. Captain Loggy is already out of this one down towards the south, so they should be fine as even the Jam Fam are able to get themselves into a place of safety. It's just Bean Chili who might be found. We'll take a look a little bit later on. I gotta say this, the rest of the lobby is still hardy at that. Everyone's still in this. Not quite sure how it will break out as, all we can really expect is maybe some good recovery. There's Bean Chili. There you go. Final flesh found, and you've basically given R5R the opportunity of a lifetime here to, I don't know, run the distance on you. Captain Loggy isn't. If I was Captain Loggy, by the way, all right, Fuel Esports, here you go. Here's your advice. So your teammate's struggling. You've got the walls set up. Realistically, though, Bean Chili should be telling you, hey, man, I've got a full team on me. So what do? Do you sit here on choke, or do you take the time to rotate towards edge or a crafter? Because here's the thing. Look at the zone. Your next crafter's all the way at staging. You could have been ahead of the game. You could have been here on this crafter, right? Getting the reset. And then you've got it. You get a respawn on countdown. You're good to go. Instead, now because you took that time, you might get chased upon. What's up, Wizard? Good evening. Welcome in from the airport. I assume it's the old farts fighting here. How? Wow. Made into that top 3 last time. And you know what? Anyone with the name Zappy has got my heart. Quick send from both sides, and I mean, they are getting fooled for the boozle here. A couple full thirsts on the gerbil and Lucky Cooters. It will leave just ibuprofen, probably with a headache. Even still, though, ibuprofen can be strong in the right situations. Port play through the other side, and you gotta pray that knockdown lets you thrive. Instead, the old farts will meet their maker. The coffins that be here is it's a big win for Powwow. Couple teams still taking their time all the way to the edge. Captain Loggy is able to get the reset onto Sentu Satori, but like I said, a lot to learn there on that exchange. Meanwhile, OCC Esports, they are the first fresh bait found here at the hands of 2 humans, 1 clanker. And that's going to be a big dub at that for them. Remember, they had a rough time last game putting points up on the board. Only 1, even though they did win the first game. So we'll see how that ends up here. The Phonem Freddies, they've got a thorn in their side. Or the same could be said for Cumberland. The Phonem Freddies have been looking good here. Slasher already taking a bunch of damage down. It's a nice peek from Zach W. Keys that will push just as much damage in here. Once again, the full send from Syken, not much better themselves. They're porting in and out of the exchange here. It's up to Slasher to finish at least 1. There you go, Fredster down, but Flesh found. Gonna try to stick the revive, and no one is there to cover. Looks like Phonem Freddies will try to do the same, but that means Cumberland has the advantage of timing here. Back up to height and a peek around the side. Zach W. Keys is going to lay it low for now. Drill mill trade. This is still a full 3v3 exchange, but Cumberland still are at the health advantage. A peek fadeaway leaves Syken begging for more as up around the edge. Zach W. Keys finally finds that response onto the Southpaw roster, and you have to hope Slasher's just as quick to get his own return. Ports through the other side, and they are just absolutely dancing around it. Syken caught out there on the end. It's dropped by that Swahili, and it's up to Slasher to, well, play for the full reset here. Nearest Crafter is in stack, so they do have that opportunity if they wish to play through it, and Zach W. Keys is going to make this one back, so should be fine. We'll see if there's the complete follow-through here from the Phonem Freddies. They do have the numbers advantage, and they don't have to take the port, but they could just walk into this. That's Swahili more than happy to do that. Looks like Sento Satori was found out. As we'll jump on back over to the Jam Fam, maybe with a little bit of some recovery, return, and revenge. Won't cook your ass, though. Caught by that Rolling Thunder, and it is a 2v2 situation. Now Kosu finally responding from the other side. G7 Scout in hand, won't find the purchase it needs, and that Rolling Thunder just as quickly from the opposite side will pressure the Jam Fam. They'll be running right into Tioret here in just a moment. Oh yeah, Cumberland inevitably found out here by the That Swahili squad. I know if we'll see R5R continue to survive as the Phonem Freddies now, remember, only need 10 points to get the job done. 10 points to get on to match point here. They can't win it this game, but they sure as shit can in the next. They finished Cumberland there, and now with the points standing into the top 12, currently with, what, 4 points? They just need to get a little bit further. Zip line out here. Here comes the Purdue Black roster. Thurquifa already struggling down at that. Purdue Dreamer not much better themselves. They're getting shot from the back here. Vortec with 1 in the... Whew! Sheila shreds whether you like it or not. From up on high, though, it's the Phonem Freddies back and in action. Meanwhile, beautiful long-range shots on the Not Rowan. Southpaw barely's missing. Instead, they're kissing. Beautiful utilization of the Newcastle there. Won't be able to find complete full resets. Instead, pressure back from the other angle will prevent them from getting at least that full wipe there. So, Purdue back in full force. The same for the Goats. The same for Phonem Freddies. They're still in the heart of our zone here as Nkosu. Oh, he's not much better himself. Let's take a look, though, at Tioret, because they are holding on for dear life against the Jambro roster. I mean, for some reason, Jambro got caught out, left alone, and the Jam Fam are separated. They have this Crafter and the reset on bridge, so they should be fine, but a weird one at that. Tiorez got some distance to cross here, but should be able to find their safety back to R5Rs. We're down to our 11 squads remaining, just about to break into the edge of coverage. Now, Phonem Freddies, they weren't successful in that early KP, but they saw probably how nice that initial fight was a second ago, and so now they want more. Remember, 10 points would put them on the board here for match point. Here comes the Fredster leading. Already finding that late rotate from Powwow. Remember, Powwow, no slouches here. We're able to survive into the end of the top 3 last time around. You can see just that. Fredster pressured back for now. That's why Healy already taking the rotate, and they will play into the heart of zone. Now the Jam Bro just barely getting this reset off here to pull this one back together. Meanwhile, 2 humans, 1 clanker, just as fast to try and capitalize. Scanned out as we've got a Seer in play. Mozambique is a bit peak. Zero with 1, Zero with 2. Switches to the Havoc here, and you gotta pray for more. Finds the crack necessary. Quick pin and miss it. It's up to Current to finish the job here, and instead, he's healing out in the middle of nowhere. Why? That could have been the easy finish onto the Jam Bro. Instead, they're gonna play for the resets here and maybe, I will say, get full sent on by R5R, but that could have been good KP for you to utilize if you just commit as a roster. Now, does look like we got a little bit of separation from the team. Couple exchanges from Hell up on high here towards the north. This kind of pinion is going to be difficult, but there is the fence line all the way up here to play from. So, huge humans, 1 clanker. Able to get Zero back from Current Mud, utilizing that passive. They're going to play for the reset, and just as quickly as I say that, there's the full send from Hell, just as quickly looking to punish this reset, but just as, I mean, from behind, R5R have got your name, they've got your address, and they know where to find you. Newcastle Resist won't mean much. A castle wall ain't going to do a damn thing. Fleshbound and Cosmo with 1 final piece of damage there to ring true. That's it for Hell. R5R unable to beat the edge of zone, as that will tick and burn here. Like I said, you've got that fence line to work with. That should be enough for safety, but the problem is I don't think Nkosu gets back into us. Yeah, gonna burn out to the edge of that zone there. DFW doing a great job to pressure them on that rotate. So you got the edge of R5R. You've got 2 humans, 1 clanker. All 3 of them just barely pulled back together. And R5R might be their next assault here. We saw how good Zero was with these Mozambiques, but he can't get caught out like that. Not to mention, apparently Semo, Apex, Ruby, Dingle Larry, Darendorf, Dingleberry, Funko Bottom, and Dingledorf Bunklebob. Fantastic fucking names. Are in their own set. Revive tries to come through, and Zero is brought down so quickly here. It will be trade for trade, and once again, it is up to Current Mub to finish the fight here. G7 point blank won't be enough. Instead, it is once again success for the R5R roster here. Cosmo's pulling this one back, but remember, we got the edge of zone all the way past launch site at this point. Bowen Freddy's set up for success. Powwow with their own building. Purdue Black likely going to be sent on the backside here with the Goats not far from behind, but still, for teams like the UCF, DFW, and of course, up towards the top, Semo, Apex, Ruby versus R5R, who have just gotten that respawn onto Nkosu. You're not long for this world. You have to make a decision. Optical going to be looking for that port play. Now remember, R5R are on the low ground here, but Purdue Black aren't much further themselves. They got a little bit of a box to work with. Question if we'll see them get involved down in the low ground there. Remember, you have that rampart, so that nade not going to result in much. They'll share space as the UCF roster will fly for the sky. Here they go. Blacked by Purdue. Joaquin's got his name and number of success. I mean, they've got their own setup here. I don't know what this is. Let's jump on over for R5R. It's a knock on the Dingleberry Funko Bottom. The rest of the Dingle squad will run out into the open, and Nkosu is just as quickly from behind. Burns from both ends. We'll say goodbye to Dingledorf Funko Bob, as of course, Dingle Larry Darendorf is just as quickly to join, as the Semo Apex Ruby squad will meet their maker. Purdue tries to peek this, but they find their end just as quickly. Meanwhile, DFW, they don't really give themselves much space to work with, and now Optical, final remaining member. Don't know what that was. Don't know what he was shooting. Don't know who's over here. Either way, couple of final squads, and the Goats have got the low ground to themselves. Meanwhile, Pow trying to come in and capitalize on the action. R5R down to low ground. A couple of zipline plays from RIT's Purdue, and they just realized they've made a mistake. With a knock on the Cosmos and Nkosu down, R5R should be in the end of their life here. Problem is, Purdue engaging on this as a third party means you are just as quickly done and dusted. That's it for Purdue. R5R's Tio Re has managed to keep this one light and quiet up on height. Meanwhile, the Phone and Freddy's probably in the driver's seat for another win there. They find the end of UCF Jits and Optical. I mean, he's got damage to boot, but I mean, it is just one. Nade spam from Optical out. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I trolled. It's a little bit of a throw, but you guys were pinched. In the end, you don't have much room to work with there. You have to make a cut onto somebody. Only problem is it should have been earlier, and you guys should have been holding out this north side a lot better, right? Trying to really extend into that and make sure you don't get this full wipe very early on. All right, so Optical, final remaining member down. I turbo through. I was completely checked out on that last rotate. Don't remember how y'all died, but either way, Tiara will be found up on height here. Goats down below. Powwow up on above. Optical's a rat to be mirrored here by the Phone and Freddy's as potential full sends ahead. Here's the thing. They've gotten themselves a space in zone. So for Optical, who is, I mean, you're just rat. You are just praying no one finds you. Out to the edge of zone. You are once again with nowhere to call home there. Meanwhile, the Phone and Freddy's have got themselves a good LOS on the low ground against, well, the edge of the Goats here. Meanwhile, Powwow really taking their time, trying to play the low ground as efficiently as possible. Hosting all this and playing is difficult. Trust me. There is a reason I hire admins, all right? We'll see how it goes. Powwow. Woo! Cracks that B. Flesh found in the response there. They've got pressure on Phonum, but Phonum's not stupid. They're going to take their time and make sure they're up to full health here. Remember, they've got the longest time to wait. This high ground will be in to the end here. Meanwhile, the Goats, the first to force to move in 45 seconds. And, by the way, the direct attention of both of these rosters. The big question I have for the end of this game is, how does Optical come into play here? Someone's gonna get knocked by Optical. He's good enough at that. And the Goats are right here. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at that Swahili. Trying to start off the end a little bit early there. The ticks are burning. A double crack found, and the Mad Maggie ball to try to pressure them back. Just as quickly, though, that Swahili takes a chunk of damage, and that will not be the end of Powwow, but that might be the go button here for the Goats. Able to extend out to the side. Fredster from up on high finds the one they need, and I'm telling you guys, this is all Phone and Freddy's here. They got height, they got beautiful drills of coverage from both sides, and I mean, unless you get full sent upon, you are done. Fredster here, the absolute brutal punishment against the Goats. They still at least have the truck to work with, but you aren't even able to set up what you need. Bane already wiped out here, and if those walls weren't there, you'd be just as quickly eliminated. That's it for Vortex. The Goats are done. Wahili's on the coverage here for the full send of Powwow, and just as quickly as they come through is as quickly as they are removed. One final remaining member there, as by the way, shout out to Optical, surviving as a rat here. The Phone and Freddy's are now just 2 quick clicks into the end. You can hear that heal, by the way, on the other side here. Powwow will be finished and thirsted. And Optical, well, you know what? Rats till the end. Misses the final shots there. And for the Phone and Freddy's, it is a double dub on the day. Congratulations. The absolute success. The onslaught. The fury here of the Phone and roster. Great job. Let's take a look at that scoreboard. Hopefully, a little bit quicker this time. Honestly, I'm having fun. A couple of these end games aren't bad, but I mean, you can disrespect with that scout hipfire. Yeah. I will say, the Phone and Freddy's, especially here, just do such a good job when it comes to making the decisions necessary, right? So, something, something, something. I think we've stopped fighting in chat. All right. Over under 5 minutes till overstat updates. Probably going to be faster.
Decisions Cumberland could never. Actually, over under 30 seconds over stat.gg. All right. I guarantee you by the time this prediction goes live. Wait, they locked in? It's up? Fuck. Don't take the under. Don't take the under. Don't take the under.
As a result, the Phone and Freddy's walk away with 25 that game. It's not as explosive a win. They were very respectful. You saw them try to get a lot of those kills towards the south side of launch site against teams like Purdue, but in the end, weren't able to do so. And Powwow, by the way, did a great job holding them off on the eastern end as well. As a result, wasn't that aggro from them. Only 13 kills. R5R actually works out so similarly, even though they go down in the top 5 there. So 16, 15 for Powwow, surviving in the top 3. And a shout out to, apparently it's now OFW. My apologies. I thought that was DFW. That makes a lot more sense. Optical starts with an O. 12 points there. 2 humans, 1 clanker. Their better game yet from the last remaining. And now in our overall situation, Phone and Freddy's could finish the job. I mean, 1 win for the Phone and Freddy's, and we are done and dusted here in our series. They've already picked up the double dub, and at 65 points on the board, they could do it again. R5R here with 42 points, the next closest. At that, they make a big return there and jump up to first. Of course, 42 still leaves the 8 necessary, 11 for Powwow, 12 for Human Clankers, and those are the only teams that could realistically get the job done in this next game. 24 points for Cumberland isn't out of the picture, and the same for OFW at 26, but it has to be an explosive success at that. Beyond them, W&M, Goats, MC Apex, the Jam Fam, Semo Apex Ruby. Honestly, your best bets is to practice your most efficient Apex yet. Of course, for Phone and Freddy's and the drops underway here, E-District is the place we will go. They did not win this game, and it might have something to do with the fact that they did start in Old Town here. Now, they don't really have much pressure against them. You do see OFW, who is on that top end of the leaderboard, not too far away. But for teams like 2 Humans, 1 Clanker, they're all the way up in Riverside, and R5R are all the way on Resort. The teams you arguably don't want to run into if you're Phone and Freddy's are far away from the equation. Granted, you'll meet them in the end game, whether you like it or not. The Phone and Freddy's, though, there's a reason why they did struggle in that first game. Old Town is a problem, but even still, 6th place is not a bad place to be. Let's jump into the game. We've got the bans on Alter, Valkyrie, and of course, Caustic. All selections that have been played out here. We did make the switch to the Rampart and the Mad Maggie. Let's take a look at what the Phone and Freddy's are working with here now that we've got it. I'm not... How'd you guys bet on the over-under? It was under. All right, someone lost points. All right, let's jump into the Phone and Freddy's because the question is, and the answer is, Fred is on the Wraith. So the Altar has provided a lot of safety to this roster. And so the Wraith, it will do the same, but it's not going to be as free. Check my phone while I wait. All right. How's y'all's day going, by the way? Oh my god, is that Slasher on MC Apex solo? Someone drag Slasher to Cumberland University. Drag them. Oh, no, not me. God, could you imagine me and Slasher were dishing it out down and dirty? Decent till I played in this shit. Hey, you could still be here. Or unless you weren't kidding about the Wi-Fi crash. If that's real, then there's not much. Nightmare blunt rotation. Who? Me and Slasher? Oh yeah, no Wi-Fi went out? That sucks.
It was all right. Played Apex for like 3 hours, then got queued with Falcons Guild, the coach, and someone from S8UL as a plat 2. It happens. Sour player, you want to know something? This literally, whatever. I'm just going to say it because it's like, so fun fact about S8UL, did you know on broadcast we're not supposed to say soul when we refer to that roster? And the reason why is because the roster is actually a combo between two former teams, right? And one of them was named Soul, and the other was named, I think, like S8 or something similar. And so as a result, when the two combined in the region, they basically made a claim to say, hey, if you only say Soul, you're only really referring to the original Soul roster. We would prefer if you say, like, S8UL, which is so funny because it is distinctly the word Soul, right? Honestly, I don't think they care that much, but that was the rhetoric that we were told during NOLA. Oh, so that's why everyone says it so awkwardly? That is exactly why. So, is what it is. I know that good comms. Yeah, I don't know if it's like good comms, but it is just comms. It's the most random comms on earth. I gotta stop looking at my phone, man. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. You know what I mean? I'm a silly little guy who shouldn't stare at his phone. Pretty crazy. All right. Ultimately, I look for the greatest success in a team like Semo, Apex, Ruby because they have the kudos to at least name themselves something funny. 2 humans, 1 clanker here. We're in a definitive lead and now are on the chase for only a few more points to put them up there. Dingledorf, Bunkle Bob, Dingleberry, Funkelbottom, and Dinglelarry Derendorf are oh so close to this exchange. 2 humans, 1 clanker, though, are a tough roster at that to take the fight to. Dingleberry Funkelbottom is just as quickly caught, but in the turn, finds it in a 2v2 scenario. Dingleberry Derendorf already trying to pressure this one back, but the wall doesn't quite come out quick enough. Dingledorf Funkelbob now trying to play for safety with the Mozambiques will at least find knock for knock on to Zierro, and it's up for a 1v1 return of a century here. Tries to play it around the corner side, but for Semo, Apex, Ruby, that'll be all the names I get to say this game. Take a look at the rest of these rosters, and we have to question if someone has early scanning here. There was one up towards the top, and yeah, there we go. Seeing so many of these teams already set up here lets me know that, yep, we've all got scans. Now, Purdue Black was dropped on 1 here, and OFW are just as quickly going to return, trying to play for their own setup here. Foster leads for the first damage down, but it's Optical who finds the knock that counts. Couple of port plays out towards the edge, but they will make sure they get Purdue Dreamer in their fold. Jack, smart enough to get them out of dodge here. Meanwhile, this is the fight that ultimately matters the most.
The Phonum Freddies versus the old farts here. The Phonum Freddies potentially in the position to win it all, but they're also in a situation where they need to succeed at that. Taking a fight this early could come back to bite you here. And remember, old farts aren't a slouch. Fredster already learning that with the damage down there. Even still, they want to finish the job sometime soon because you don't want to share a building in this zone. Phonum Freddies with a couple of ticks there, and that's Swahili looking for their own setup. Mad Maggie Ball is absorbed by the pylon. It's a huge loss for that Swahili, and that's a massive send that they don't have to their advantage. If I was Phonum Freddies, I would get out of dodge here. This is not a winning fight. You don't have your resources, leave. You do not want a stacked building when you are playing for match point. Let it go. And they do just that. All right, we got PD first. He's on his last moments here. And you know what? As a caster, he'd love for me to catch this one. A couple drops down to Bronze Taper and Sinatra for hell. It seems like they're living in it. OCC Esports not far away themselves, but not chasing this out. Instead, it's Boosted Xeno who could be there. Up on high. Triple take will thrive. One single final shot does PD first down to the grave. OCC Esports now. Well, I mean, they've extended oh so too far in the face of Cumberland here. And Comp KP, that final remaining member, should have just ratted this. Should have just played this for safe. There's no reason you got to set yourself up there for, I mean, any kind of follow through. Zach W. Keys already here just as quickly to you. He gets you to expend a little bit of bullets there. And with that wall bounce, we'll switch to the triple take shotty in the first place. And I would usually say you're already done and dusted here, but I mean, we're playing for all kinds of success. Really breaking angles out here. Zach W. Keys finishes the job, and OCC joins hell in their final moments. Meanwhile, R5R, they've got themselves set up with maybe something more holding things out here. PD first. It's a shame we see your end, but hey, thanks for hosting here. We'll see if we keep going. Of course, powwow all the way towards the south, and, well, the Phonum Freddies not much better themselves. We did miss out on the exchange. Fredster, their final remaining moments here. Gonna have to play for some kind of safety. No shield swap available, and I'm looking for, I mean, they got a crafter all the way out towards the west here. No banner for recovery. I mean, Humbert, I mean, you're not going back that way. Your best bet is to somehow get out of dodge, but this could be it for the Phonum Freddies here. We did not get to see the OFW coverage, and they basically saved the day. Well, we'll see how it goes. Cumberland are involved here. OF holding on for dear life, and well, Cumberland are going to hold out this exchange against Purdue Black. They've got a distance of coverage here. Zach does set up that port play up towards the north if they want to rotate out through the side. Meanwhile, shout out to Fredster. This is the play that we really should be looking at because, well, I don't know if he got caught out. I don't know if he got spotted. Either way, Cumberland University not far at that. Fred is really trying to thread the needle to keep the Phonum Dream alive here. Even still, by the way, you take your time too poorly, you're going to get caught out by someone on edge here. And being on edge is a tough spot at that. We'll jump on over to R5R. We saw Cosmos with a drop onto Sir Chubbs a lot here from a distance. Whisper and Ziotic at least able to rotate for now towards the side. Still time to really make all this happen. And Fredster is able to thread the needle oh so just but variably. And no one wants to commit towards this further rotate. Instead, Purdue Black and the Jambro saving each other for now. We'll see how it goes. Two humans, one clanker. I mean, we're trading port play for port play here. Kidnap might have been it. I don't know if we actually just caught that. We'll see it on the return. Up to height here. It is a catch onto Whooper. Zierro. He's the one to find the knock, but Vayne with the capture play. Optical and Foster now as a duo. They will pressure back with a raging fury, but it is a beautiful setup from Vayne for the port play of success. Meanwhile, little quick Fredster check. They've got the crafter up towards the west. Weren't able to get here in time. Still, you've got Cumberland. You've got the Goats over towards the edge. The Goats are focused here on the other team. It's W&M Esports. He might be able to thread the needle to get this reset. Meanwhile, two humans, one clanker. We saw them at least get that first knock, but Lucky Cooter from afar gets a return of their own. It's a 2v2 situation if they're going to keep fighting this one out in the center of zone. Fredster's back in play there. Just going to look for their own chunk of success. Meanwhile, Clanker back onto the inside. Tries to play against the edge of the shield, but it is too strong in the face of Current Mud's original setup here. Even still, Foster is down from afar, and OFW is just optical on the low ground. Feels like deja vu, like we're looking at Fredster again. Meanwhile, the Phone and Freddies are back and ready into the action here. They got the Goats right alongside them. Now, they need a reset. They do not have anything to work with right now. This fight has to be a big one at that. That's Wahili already with one low here against the Goats. They're rushing to the low ground. A couple of big swings there, and that shot distracts this Wahili for just a second. Gonna keep trying to play underneath this one at that. There's the full send and the first drop onto Vortec. Couple of shots from the other side, and they're sniped out for now. Southpaw and Fredster down below as they get the full thirst onto Bane, and now that is 2 pieces of KP. Even still, though, Purdue Black is just as quickly looking to capitalize on this exchange. They don't have the line drive that you would expect, and they're not really put together here. So, as a result, no full thirst, and instead, it is massive Phonum energy from afar. Southpaw, that's Wahili. More than enough distance to work. Oh, they got height. They got rotate. They got walls up here. Now they've got pressure from both sides to assist. A quick slam from the other side, though. And this could be the end of Phonum Freddy. Cosmos with one. R5R, though, down to just Fredster once again. Life and a dream. A beam for another. R5R from the other side. And it isn't enough. The Phonum Freddy's eliminated. And now we are chasing the top 50. They get a back rotate from R5R, who were taking their time playing the edge of zone here. They thought they were one of the last rosters to come in. Oh, how wrong could they be? Purdue Black still lose out on Thurquisha in the meanwhile, and they're going to port into this one. R5R, they get the spoils of the war there. Meanwhile, Old Farts, they've got 2 humans, 1 clanker, trying to fight their way back into this one, oh so similarly. We see them play this one back out in a full force, but Vayne, woo! The Arcstar just barely doesn't slow him enough to get back into the edge there. Trying for another, portal play. Maybe really tried to set that one up for kind of like a bait and switch. You know, you get the knock, run through the portal, see how it goes. We'll take a look at the end of the Purdue Black here. 1 final remaining member up through the zip because you can't ride it on the tack. Purdue Black will meet their fate. R5R up north. Cumberland still aren't in the action yet, and a single W&M who will have to face the embers of the edge of zone. Hello? Yeah, tough, Jack. The Jam fam stuck in their building, and powwow not much further there. It's a beautiful Sparrow ultimate to give them what they need. Already ticking back, and the mobile shield has likely come through here. Yep, there it is on the other side to play for coverage. Even still, they're going to look for this one. Tries to play off the knock nade on the backside there. Got to get that out before the walls come through, and Bloom Dion finally gets the knock necessary. Even still, you can hear that Newcastle ringing through on the other side. Now for powwow, you got to question if the third party will come into this one. Another re-knock onto Owen there as Bloom Dion with the direct peek is on the interior. Couple of port plays back, and they are into safety in the next building ahead here. But for the Jam Fam, Powwow is oh so quickly always available to send it on you. Doors being held. Rampart walls out here. The ticks coming through from Zappy. A peek up to height, and there you go. A knock of knocks here. The Jam Fam picked off in their end. And hey, not much better for Cumberland there. There's R5R. Teoret, Nikosu, and Cosmos doing a great job at that. My lord. Oh my god, Rye Dugstar is still alive. Shout out to Rye Dugstar. Alright, 7 squads remaining. Old Farts have to make a move here. There's plenty of space to do so. We'll see how it goes. Old Farts, to the surprise nobody, will meet their face at the end of the 2 Humans, 1 Clanker roster. It's just an easy pickup at that. And I'm pretty sure these guys are already qualified. The question is, can R5R do the same themselves? The water rings true in sound here. And, no. Powwow's got nowhere for height. You gotta question if they got rotation ability. No, they have no way to make a cross. They just have to play into this directly. It's big damage from Zappy, but it's just as much on his Bismo, so it's not a good enough send at that. They could play underneath here. The only saving grace is that R5R might get sent upon. Defensive, or the bombardment comes down here as, I mean, we're missing triple shake shots in point blank range. Cosmo on the other side does get taking the brunt of that, but just as quickly pumps this one back out. You got to question if anyone's going to step up here from the other end. I mean, this is the perfect time to swing R5R. They're completely focused, and you hear these shots, and they're very, very extended. Super late. Hey, we'll have to see how it goes. We're going to take a look at 2 Humans, 1 Clanker, because they are just as quickly assaulting where they see best fit. A knock on to Captain Loggy. The Newcastle res will come through, but Current Mud is just as quickly picking up the full wipes down there. Being Chilly is thirsted, and for 2 Humans, 1 Clanker, they should just take their time, get their health back together, and well, let Fuel Esports play on the outside. Cosmos with the long-range knockus. Here we go, finally. The UCF roster tries to play up around the backside of Bridge here. They're going to get into zone, but they're walking into it from the other side. Could play up that zip into R5R, but here's the thing. Teoret and Cosmos are just so quickly able to cover the side. Is Matchpoint team alive? No. No Matchpoint team is alive. Phonem Freddy was wiped out. Alright, 5 squads remaining. You got the likes of the 2 Humans, 1 Clanker playing the southern side. A full hold here from UCF, R5R, and, well, I guess WNM as a rat. But more importantly, Powwow on the other end of UCF there. UCF, I mean, this is not a position to play in. They barely got space. They need to make it count. Powwow takes a brunt of damage in return, but the tick of the Sparrow ultimate is enough to at least find Warfare. Bloom Dion with 1. Teoret is on the low ground, but R5R are still holding on for height with dear life. There's the drop from Nikosu, but it's just as quickly going to bite them back. 2 Humans, 1 Clanker with a knock. R5R now a duo, and you have to wonder if they get their height taken away from them here. I mean, if I was them, I would do so. 2 Humans, 1 Clanker. They're finally going to bite the bullet and pull the trigger, but just as quickly are facing knocks in return. I would send it. They don't have a way to really assault upon height there without playing for a zip or a stairwell, but in the end, they are still together. Teoret up on high. Gonna see if he can send the Sparrow ultimate to pressure back. Breaks the shield, and there's the damage to go to boot. Humans, 1 Clanker tracked out. You just need a couple more bullets, but they just don't land. R5R still holding on for dear life as Teoret is able to get the beacon back here. Little double jump utilizing that pressure, and the mobile res is coming through to get R5R back to full force here. 2 Humans, 1 Clanker. Separated, still playing the south side. And shout out where it's due. I mean, Powwow has lost out on one. R5R have done a great job controlling this height from every single team. All right, Nikosu's back into it. Not much more time to go. Powwow have got to look for a return. Little heady there. That's it for his Bismo. And Powwow have rotated just underneath it all. They're playing in the same spot we saw from 2 Humans, 1 Clanker moments ago. You have to wonder if Teal Red will spot this out. Instead, setting up for that Sparrow ultimate here. And I mean, just look at this. Nice heady. Current Mud eliminated. Ports for the other side. And remember, Powwow are there. Rats out below. And it is literally just Christmas here for R5R. They'll pick up whatever gift they can find. Here we go. Couple of exchanges out. The bombardment from 2 Humans. That's it for Zero. Rye Doug as the rat does at least make it to top 4. But when you've got nowhere to go, you've got nowhere to go. Pow stuck in the corner. The full send for I5R. And in the end, a dub for them coming out of game 4. Congratulations at that. It was meticulous. It was efficient. It was impeccable. I mean, it just genuinely was so clean. Literally no one could survive that. I mean, whoever wins height there in usually those zones does end up winning the final game. But Teal, Nikosu, and Cosmo, I mean, they make it look easy. And they even faced Nox. That's something to say there. So we'll pull away to the scoreboard. I'm not going to bet this time, but R5R should be, by the way, here's the thing for Powwow. If Powwow got 2 kills, they're on match point. R5R, if they made it to, they definitely did. They got it. 2 Humans, 1 Clanker. I'm pretty sure they got enough KP too. All right. There we go. Game 4 underway. R5R 19. 20 points there for the 2 Humans, 1 Clanker roster. A beautiful 13 KP at that. And 18 for Powwow. All more than enough to get the job done. No one else even comes close. Shout out to at least the 5 KP for Cumberland. But it has been a rough day. As a result, we go into the final game of the day. Unless Cumberland University can absolutely swing and turn this one around, there is no way we come through with a better dub at that. All right. So we'll see how it goes. Let me check the scrim ping because I just got it. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know what that will be. Just making sure it's not a reset. Problem is, I think we're losing out on teams in record time here, so don't know if it's the scrim lobby or if it's them. Yeah, why are people leaving? Don't leave. Game's far from over. I mean, you still get the... Never forget, every chance to play a game is a chance to craft the expertise of your macro, your micro, and learn 100 different things here, right? And so, we'll see how it goes. I need to duplicate this for you guys in chat who have managed to come out today. I know this isn't a regularly scheduled one. There's the standings right now. Here is for me. I'm going to open up another link so that I have that for me to read during game because I need to, and we should be good. So Powwow, 2 Humans, 1 Clanker, Phone and Freddy's, and R5R. 3 of these teams have found wins. Powwow has managed to make it into the top 3 multiple consecutive times in a row. Their worst highest placement being 5th. So a macro team at that. Excellent job today. Just have not been able to replicate in terms of the amount of KP. And that fighting prowess is really what has separated them from winning these games. Every single time we see them in these final zones, you either got Phonum or R5R or 2 Humans, 1 Clanker, just kind of being built a little bit different in that exchange. So Couple of teams. Oh, gosh. I hope we really don't start with 15. We'll see how it goes. What did I just purchase? Oh my god. I just resubscribed to someone by accident. Well, it's never the worst. It was Glitter. Those of you who know Glitter, she's a co-commentator on ALGS. And so I Glitter and Gaskin were streaming together, and I just resubscribed because I have automatic subscriptions on. All right, let me make sure that is up. All right, cool. I got both scoreboards up for me. Potentially the final match of the day. We've lost out on a couple teams. Semo, Apex, Ruby, as funny as they were, no longer in the match, and I believe the same can be said for not trying here. So 15 squads left on the board. Let's take a look and guess what might have been the ban. I didn't see it. I assume it's a Wraith. I don't see Wraith. So no, if you're playing to the advantage of the utilization of that altar teleport or the Wraith one at that, and it's a huge difference, you know? And so, in terms of the expedient rotations that you're used to, some teams will take advantage of the smoke play. Some teams have run the Mad Maggie, which has been super good in this meta. But the majority, I mean, you have to pick and choose efficiently where you're going to end up in zone here. So I'll let the zone at least tell its own story here for now. Most teams are going to find themselves with a lot of separation. No one in Barometer, no one in Coastal Camp. This exchange that we saw here between SC Vortex last time, no one in Jurassic, no one in Bean, no one in the Mountain Lift Lagoon area or out towards the edge, no one in Waller Zoo Station. Zoo Station's a big one at that. I usually love Zoo Station. But taking a look at our match point teams, you got R5R here up towards Ferrari. Of course, you've got Powwow all the way towards Stormcatcher. 2 humans, 1 clanker. Or, sorry, Bone and Freddy down here in Cenote. And then, where is 2 humans, 1 clanker? Oh, I'm an idiot. Lightning Rod. So, you do have quite a close distance between Powwow and 2 humans, 1 clanker, but I expect Powwow to play for macro play pretty quickly. Meanwhile, R5R likely going to start off this exchange all but the same as they always have. We'll see. Scritchy, scritchy, scritchy nose. I mean, all right. UCF Jits will inevitably finally be caught out here in the open waters. Cosmo with that triple take. I mean, it's damage down, but making that cross yourself is difficult. So you are in the nick of time. If you are UCF here, they're going to get that scan back on them, and I'm going to ban someone in chat real quick, so give me 2 seconds. Here we go. Woo! It's better than that. It's a knock on a Tiora. Mad Maggie Ball for coverage will pressure them back for now. Nikosu's got to look for a response here as Cosmo's not better themselves. They are at a disadvantage in the exchange, and here comes the UCF roster. Potentially looking to pin R5 early here. 1 final remaining member, and Warfare and Croissant have to respond just in tow, but R5R cannot put up the mustard. Our first match point team eliminated here. They were leading coming out of last game. 73 points, and now, I'm not even kidding you, this might knock them all the way down here. Now, We did see a little bit of a rotate from Powwow. They're going to work into Lagoon here with Cumberland not far away. OCCC Esports going to try to hold them back for now, but they will close that distance. Cumberland, we saw them in that exchange against Powwow. They are going to play for recovery, and we'll see how it goes. Jambro. What is this? Old Farts holding out the likes of the Jambro squad. And not much more than that. 2 humans, 1 flanker, just barely finally making their way out of zone. And depends on how this exchange and how quickly we come through to Stormcatcher. If we're looting it, we could run into Powwow, who have yet to set themselves up here. In terms of zone, it's going to be a Jurassic finish. And it's the perfect place to finish because nobody started in Jurassic to boot. We'll see how it goes. Oh, W&M Esports here. OFW. OFW, one of the few teams that aren't on match point here with 28 points to their name, have been pretty good. There's been a couple of times where we've seen them, especially against what was 2 humans, 1 clanker, where they were successful on the exchange. So, not particularly the worst team. Just maybe not in the best decision-making and a lot of times punished out in some of these more direct fights here. So, W&M Esports, they realize there's 14 squads remaining. They've got space galore. But even still, even if you got space galore, the Phone and Freddy's are more than happy to send it where they can. There's Gerbil eliminated right off the bat, and either that's, yeah, an evac coming on up here, and here's the problem. You take an evac in a lobby like this, you are begging to get knocked. The Old Farts brought down to the dust below. Phonum does have 1 close here. We'll jump on over to the OFW squad, chasing this one out, and that right there is the difference in quality. Wolfer will inevitably get at least the sniper's mark down, and that's as good as it gets. But most teams, the higher you go up, the less likely you're able to evac, right, in front of someone. That is a big disparity. So, WM Esports, they'll try to get the rotate out there, but they are just as quickly being shot by the Fuel Esports Academy roster. A little bit of safety there. Couple of late rotates from the west, and everyone else out here is definitely taking their time. There comes the Jam fam, still on white health. You're just keeping this quiet. Taking their time for now. They're going to get scanned out there, trade for trade on the nades. Singularity expended there from Ur. The black hole will find purchase as it sucks, at least for now. Out on the 1, FG Double Whisper, though, as quickly as they peek out, are punished in return here. Now, Owen Cookdew does still have that Newcastle in play, but both these rosters don't want to contest against zone. The UFC roster, they're going to drop that Warfare ultimate down, and right as they come out of zone, they are meeting that end. Hemlock and a scan, and you now have to contest against the edge here. Quick rotate out towards the side, and the castle wall just barely comes through, but Ur is already behind your back. From behind the tree, though, at least a single response from the UCF roster. The Jam fam picked apart. Let's jump on over to Phone and Freddy's because they should be the winners of today, but have faced early ends here. At any time, they could get third-partied. Couple quick scans as Bean Chili runs right into their final moments. Send Tutori and Captain Logie, who I hope stays in the drone because the drone will be the difference maker here. Oh no, you're gonna let that drone get shot out. You get that drone shot out, you are done. Oh no. Captain Logie just as quickly found out, and that'll be it. Fuel Esports Academy, not gonna leave any time. Meanwhile, for 2 humans, 1 clanker, ooh, a match point roster made in point blank for the end, and that will be it. Powwow, the only other team left alive. And like I said, OFW, definitely a team that can hold out in their best moments. Here they are. Right now, they've got themselves an exchange against OCCC. Zappy on the low ground. They're going to slide to play around Zappy as low as they are to make sure they don't get wrapped out here. You can see GS Bloom able to at least provide the Sparrow ultimate for a bit of coverage here. Let's see. Trying to play for the rotate back up to height around the smokes here from It's Bismo, but you know what? If the Rolling Thunder finds a knock, you've got yourself the supreme advantage to get a couple of these full thirsts here. Now, it's a big separation, and, well, with Comp KP meeting their end just as quickly there, I thought they were in a different spot. We're down to our 9 squads remaining. Our current lobby leaders, Phone and Freddy's, playing the edge of Jurassic, just biding their time for extra info. Cumberland all the way from the south. Hell in the middle here as they'll hold off against the likes of the Phone and Freddy's. And Purdue Black's been holding the central position of this zone all game long. Powwow have yet to make their presence known, even as a match point team. W&M, by the way, surviving against the wrath of OFW. They're going to have to play for some kind of craft out here towards the edge and slide this one back in. Remember, it is going to get a little bit choosy. As we go to the 9 squads remaining, only 2 can win it, and you're finding 2 non-match point teams against each other. OFW versus the UCF roster. Sniper's Mark in play here from Woofer. And man, let's take a little Sniper's Mark respite here. A couple good shots. That's all that matters. Oh. Well, I don't think we're going to extend much more as the Phenome squad are hearing the exchange. Even still, I like OFW's chances in a lot of these expenditures. One bad exchange here, and you could meet your maker. Southpaw will take a little bit of damage, and this does represent that this is not a complete solo 3v3. Now, Phone and Freddy's can always drop to the low ground, which you see it's Wahili already doing there, but it is a follow-through on some of these knocks. So, one final remaining member. You do not want to get knocked in this exchange. The Phone and Freddy's are safe. Here comes the shield swaps, and OFW are not quick enough to the exchange. Rolling Thunder from Optical does not find purchase here, and Phone and Freddy's now are just waiting. Now, here's the thing. Phone and Freddy's don't have a way back up to height here. Maybe a good Sparrow ultimate for some verticality, but other than that, I mean, you're kind of praying for a good response knock here. Zipline play always available as the walls come out. It's Wahili on the other side, and they're going to try for the Cito rotate. No, that's Wahili. Able to find it, at least for now. Going to have to color the return exit here. But Fredster and Southpaw are spotted out on this exchange, so not a big dub for them. There comes the Rolling Thunder. Just barely miss out on the nade, and, I mean, you just got to hope you got a little bit of extra mobility. Southpaw extended. Ooh, does get knocked down from Foster. They'll trade out damage to boot, and you have to pray the knockdown shield will make the difference. Beautiful drop to tap, but Zach W. Keys from the other side. They've been pinched. Phone and Freddy's, they get too egotistical. They try to take too much of the pie here, and they might bump to meet their end. Cumberland, though, they don't run into the Phone and Freddy's. Instead, they run into the edge of OFW. Rolling Thunder expended here. You can see that OM are trying to, yes, finish the job. That'll be it, as OFW are no much safer themselves here. And here's the thing. R5 are gone. Phone and Freddy's gone. 2 humans, 1 clanker, gone. You got Powwow still in the game as the final match point eligible team. But the reality is, we have yet... Powwow are the only match point eligible team that has yet to win a game. 7 squads remaining, and we get this nice finish. It doesn't actually move into Jurassic. We get the final finish in the buildings outside of the lift here. W&M up on height from their reset from Command Center. The Goats inside one building. Powwow playing the very, very outskirts of the east. Hell down below. Purdue has yet to move. A single remaining member of OFW going to be wrapped from behind here from Cumberland, but guys, I think we might be looking at a game 6. Shame on the people who left, by the way. That's it for OFW. I'm a big fan of OFW, but at 28 points, you're going to need a hell of a lot more than that. 33 for Cumberland University. It looks like they only have 2 KP to their name at 6 squads remaining. That puts them at 35 points, so they're at 38 right now. What if they... I mean, at 38, what is their current position? 6 with 3 with 9 up for a win. What is up, Brandon? Good to see from you. Little surprise stream today. Special Teehee stream, not a real one. But we're catching some collegiate action. It's not the best, but I mean, I'm mostly just interested. Woot woot. Shout out to Brandon, by the way. Brandon will be hosting a tournament just before match point finals of the draft tournament. I'll be covering that on my channel with a very good friend of mine. It's not Tony. So that'll be a huge day for us. I will say, you interrupted my math. Let me see if I can get back on it. 6 squads remaining, 3 with 2 puts them at 5, so 9 points are available there. Oh, so winning the game would put them all the way up to 14. So they got to win the game with 3 KP, which is a guaranteed. So you either win the game with 3 KP or you walk away in second with 6 here for Cumberland. Kind of a stacked situation, but not one I haven't seen them pull off here. Remember, no Maple on this roster anymore. She is no longer playing with them. Sykin comes through in clutch and honestly has not been bad, albeit that 20 damage says otherwise right now. Dean PS, a friend of the family here from West Virginia Wesleyan. Thank you so much for following here. Let's take a look at our match point leaders right now. Hello, Coach. Hey, Liz! Good to hear from you. I can't coach you any League of Legends right now. I'm just messing around on Collegiate today. We'll play some League another day. And trust me, I want to play some League. That's all I ever really want to do. All right. Cumberland will start their kills as Hell here are on their rotate in. Powwow, our match point roster team. Well, I mean, not Hell. Hell is actually on their way out. Powwow is our match point roster team. And it looks like for Bloom Dion, they're more than happy to make the cross that counts. Hell will meet their makers. Cumberland did pick up one of those picks of KP. Here's the problem for Powwow. While they do got themselves a piece of the pie of zone, Vortex with a knock of 1 and what could be maybe a Cumberland rotate could punish them out here. Couple shots from Cumberland, though, towards the southern side, and we'll have to wonder. Zach W. Keys has gotten a little bit interested in this exchange. There's the Sparrow ultimate for pressure around the zone. Couple of knocks up above, and it's Bitsmo has been thirsted here. Ultimate accelerant from Zach W. Keys. Can I get a Moss check for Zach W. Keys? He ain't that good, brother. Zach W. Keys is fallible. The man has lost more than he has succeeded. Here's the problem for Powwow. Just as quickly as they try to find success, they lose out on its Bismo, and more importantly than that, they don't have the banner. Hell, the crafter is so tantalizingly close over here on the edge. Oh, check this out. I never do this. Towards the side. Look at this. Look at Zach W. Keys. I think that's Zach. All right. No, it's Slasher. All right. My apologies. I would never call Zach Slasher. How rude of me. Bloom Dion and Zappy going to play as close as they can. Thick as thieves for their final moments. As a duo, though, the chance of winning this game is utmost impossible here. Stuck with the corner and nowhere to go and outside of zone. They would have to pray for success on the interior of this building. They do have the space to play the building. Goats are only playing 1 floor right now. RIT, the same can be said. W and M are going to have to move in just as quickly, and they probably will move into this building a heck of a lot better than likes of Powwow. Let's watch Powwow. Zone on the close here. Match point eligible. Zaffy and Bloom Dion. We've seen Bloom Dion turn this around to play for success. There's the Sparrow ultimate on Cumberland. The Sparrow ultimate on the Goats. And just as quickly as they move, WM finds at least the drop of 1. Zaffy on the interior here. And we are seconds away from crowning someone else as a dub. Zaffy's able to at least get on to the outside for now, but I mean, you're asking for a miracle to last through on this one. The Rolling Thunder's going to give you away just as quickly here. Goats on the inside. W&M extending all the way towards Cumberland, and Rye Dugstar just barely clicks away here with a single tick of health. We'll see how they go. I mean, they are safe for now. Zappy on the outskirts. Cumberland playing from the low ground here. And honestly, you've got this full stack with Purdue. Purdue up on high. W&M on the outskirts. Goats on the interior. And, of course, Zappy as that rat. Here's the thing. Everyone's playing up towards the north here. It feels like a Cumberland win. Wing Wangs to and Snail Service. I don't know what the hell that means, but it's a name. Thank you for the follow. Powwow will be eliminated, and that means we are taking this to World's Edge to potentially find our victor. Now, remember, W&M would need 28 points to make it a match point. They are not doing it. The Goats would need 33. All right. Purdue, they need a hell of a lot more than I can't even see them on the scoreboard right now. And, of course, Cumberland University, remember, they only need 17 points to get the job done. They're currently up to roughly 4 with 5, so 9. So they need 6 or 8 more points. Dreamcast, thank you for the follow. All the same. I appreciate you there. I have a lovely friend by the name of Dreamer, so you remind me of them. Shout out to Dreamcast. All right, last moment of the fight here. Cumberland University, they've got to eke into a couple extra things. Unfortunately, I've been informed we'd be dropping it down to 11 teams. I'm calling it there, Zeph. I love you, and I am DMing you. All right, well, last game of the day. Let's see if Cumberland can win this one and at least make their Embers find into match point. I don't know why I like the word Embers right now. All right, here we go. Sparrow ultimate down. A couple of long-range shots from Zach W. They're going to hold down the fort. There's the drop from W and M into the corner there, and it is tracked oh so excellently. The Sparrow ultimate doesn't make the distance, and as a result, it's just quick cleanup here. Marquisha down, not Ronan on the exchange. Not much longer for this world as Purdue and Cumberland University are just biding their time. A couple final knocks will send the Goats packing here. W&M has managed to slide as the Purdue Black roster is choked out here from behind the Newcastle wall. A couple of pins of flesh as Cumberland, to the surprise of nobody, at least find a dub here in our final game of the day. 5 on the board here. Not much longer for this world is another team, but hey, there you go. Practice is practice. For Cumberland, at least they get to walk out of a slight match point with a dub on their belt, right? I mean, they did not find a dub all day long, and seeing someone like Sykin come in, replace Maple, that's really important right now. So I think that's a good place to leave off there. Let's jump on over the scoreboard one final time here to represent for these teams, as we'll say goodbye to them shortly. The Fuzzy, thank you for the follow. Hopefully tomorrow, by the way, before you guys all disappear, really excited. ECAC is going to be having their match point tournament tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit more equivalent of a skill level, so it will definitely be more competitive. Here's hoping I get to broadcast it. I've genuinely been back and forth with ECAC every single day trying to get this set up. I still have not gotten the confirmation. I want nothing more, especially now after seeing today and getting to meet some of these teams. I want nothing more than to cover it. So if that does take place, 8 p.m. Eastern, that is when it would start. Standard match point tournament. If it doesn't occur, don't worry. Maybe a little break tomorrow. We still got scrims on Tuesday, scrims on Wednesday, and of course, at the very end of this week, Wednesday is even bigger. Wednesday, we have a high school showcase into scrims, into the draft for my tournament. So that's a huge day. But more importantly than that, Saturday and Sunday, that's going to be Octane Finals. Octane semifinals and finals. So that will be the biggest one to boot. And maybe there's a couple treats there at the very end. Final scoreboard of the day. I don't know. We'll wait on it. Maybe it'll pop up. Maybe it won't. I want to thank you guys for coming out to a little surprise stream. This is not something I was expecting to do today. And hey, that's okay. It's always fun to come out and stream. And I appreciate anyone for being a supporter. And for PD first, Sour Player, Paka, Isvahu, Bloom Dion, Dean PS, Wing Wayne, 2 Nail Service, Dreamcast, and The Fuzzy. Thank you so much for follows. Seriously. I genuinely love it. I love you, Zephyr. I love you too, random stranger. No, I love you too, Mank. That being said, we are going to pray for EC match point tomorrow. Hey, I said I love you back. I said I love you back, Mank. It's a Megamind reference. Enjoy a Megamind reference, Mank. Come on. All right. Match point tomorrow, hopefully. Scrims into a big Wednesday. And then the end of the wink as an incredible one at that. As for me, shout out to PD first for hosting the scrims today. It's not an easy thing to do. Trust me, I know. And especially doing one very, very late. Arc Raiders time, hop on. Don't even have it. Never have played it. I assume it's a great game. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Tune in tomorrow
or at least keep track on my Twitter where I will announce it. Thank you guys so much.